Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new nominating contract and match pass players on eFootball. There are going to be a bunch of videos coming up on the channel because obviously we've had an update today. There's loads of new stuff in the game. There'll be player praise videos, there'll be a player of the week review as well, and I will hopefully do a stream tomorrow afternoon as well. Maybe another stream over the weekend, we'll see, but definitely at least one stream tomorrow, checking out all the new stuff. But for this video, as I do with all these nominating contract and match pass reviews, I'll start with the, well, I won't do what I normally do because there are no 3 stars this time. It's just 4 stars and 5 stars. So I'll go through all the 4 stars first and then I'll give you my recommendations. And then I'll move on to the 5 stars and do the same. And then I'll finish up by looking at the match pass players. So what we've got this month, they have given us Turkish League and J-League again as usual. And again, we've got AFC Champions League. But the AFC Champions League pack is not nominating contract. It's a selection contract pack. It's an AI event where you just have to win one match, you get a selection contract, you can choose one player from the pack. It doesn't look like you get any more selection contracts, so it looks like you just get one player out of this pack, which is kind of stingy in a way. I know a lot of us have been complaining, when I say a lot of us, I mean primarily me, about the fact that we've been getting these Asian Champions League packs, and they're kind of useless. Yes, you get 1 or 2 that you can use maybe in the J-League Challenge, for example, but outside of that, in terms of league challenges and modes to actually use these cards in, they're pretty useless. So, you know, I've been complaining, as a lot of us have, about these packs being kind of useless and not being a very good use of your nominating contracts. So they've taken them out of the nominating contracts, which I guess is good in a way, but only letting us choose one is a little bit stingy. And even worse than that, they've not replaced it with anything. So we've just got the 6 players from Turkey, the 6 from the J-League, and then it's just a 5-star pack. So I don't know what's going on there. They just keep taking the value away from match pass. You'd think they'd want us to spend coins on things, but apparently they don't. But anyways, what we got is basically, like I say, 6 from the Turkish League, 6 from the J-League, and then we got 6 from the Art of Passing in here, 5-star cards in there. But all these in the Turkey and J-League packs are 4 stars, so these are the ones we'll start with. I'll look for all these 4 stars. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player and for each section, so if you want to get to skip to a particular part of the video, just click in the description. They have a link to take you straight there. So let's start with the Turkish League, and we will start with, they're all the exact same rating. We'll just start over on the right hand side. Let's start with this guy. So we've got our first featured version of Bilal Boutobba. I hope I've said that right. He's a creative playmaker. He's not got a face scan. Don't know if we'll get one at any point. Plays for, is that Hatayspor? Hatayspor, yeah. Yeah, so he's a creative playmaker. He's a right midfielder. He's got his normal positions and stuff. He can play on the right wing, he can also play on the left, and he can play as an attacking midfielder. What have they done to him from his GP guard? They've given him a pretty good boost across the board, really, except for passing. So we've got a creative playmaker who's apparently worse at passing than normal, on a card that's supposed to be representing him in a month in which he was one of the best players in the league. Maybe someone can make sense of that for me, but yeah, they've nerfed his passing and taken a bunch of points off his low and lofted pass. He's taken 1 point off his ball control and tight possession. Apart from that, though, compared to his GP card and auto allocation, pretty nice boost for everything else. So yeah, it's hard not to rant about these things. If you're going to keep him as a creative playmaker, why nerf his passing? This is a player of the month card. It's just so utterly stupid. But like I say, apart from the passing, everything else is looking pretty decent. And skill-wise, the skills on eFootball Hub are obviously a little bit ski-whiff, as you always get with the updates. I'm sure they'll fix that at some point, but going off what I can see on eFootball Hub and what I can see in-game, it looks like they've taken away Flip-Flap and Rabona, and they've added long-range curler, long-range shooting, and one-touch pass. That looks like that's what they've done. Hopefully I'm right. We got those, and we got through passing, weighted pass. Soul control's a nice one to have. He's already got that couple hand turns, so got a pretty decent section of skills there. He's got some shooting and passing skills, but end product wise, yes, he's got the skills, but they're only going to improve those attributes, and those attributes are low. So there's a bit of a question mark on the end product. It could be worse in all these areas, but the fact he's not particularly great at any of these things, passing, crossing, shooting, is a little bit of a concern. On the ball, he's decent. Shame he's lost that 1 point of ball control, because he's no longer going to hit a 90 for that with your maximum game plan boost. The attacking wise is decent. Pace is alright, got a bit of kicking power, a bit of balance. It's kind of one of these cards where it just kind of looks alright to me, but I mean, certainly with the passing, I'm not going to be playing this guy as an attacking midfielder. Those passing attributes are not high enough. And from what we've been hearing from Konami about the update today, it sounds like passing attributes are even more important. So for that reason, I've not played any matches yet, but based on what they've said and what other people are saying, I would say that those passing attributes are even more of a concern. So I wouldn't play this guy as an attacking mid. He's left-footed. You're going to use him as a left winger, wide left winger, as a kind of left wing forward. 75 lofted pass, no pinpoint crossing. No, I don't think you are. I think this guy is going to be best on the right wing. I think that's pretty clear as a kind of inverted winger. He's got a little bit of pace. He's decent on the ball. Got decent attacking awareness. Just got to be careful with his end product. Like I said, it's not terrible, and he does have the passing and shooting skills to improve those attributes. But I think certainly from the right wing as a left footer, if you can get him onto his left foot, his passing won't be too bad for a wide man. And he's got those shooting skills, especially long range curler. Coming off that right flank onto his left foot, hitting long range curlers. Yes, he won't have an amazing long range curler, but it will be decent enough. So, yeah, this isn't a particularly bad card. These are all 4-stars, of course. You can't expect too much from a 4-star. I think for a 4-star, this guy could be decent as a right wing. If you get the Turkish League Challenge, I'm going to say much the same thing for all these cards. If you still get the Turkish League Challenge, these could all be useful cards for you. I think if you like inverted wingers, and if you don't mind the creative playmaker playing style out wide, as I always say, I don't personally like it on a winger. I find they're a bit too reserved with their movement. They're not kind of aggressive enough with it with their attacking runs for me personally. But that's just me personally. But if you do think that playing style is okay out wide for you on an inverted winger, I think the fact that we, not quick but not slow either, pretty decent on the ball, and he could have a half decent long range curler on him. He could be quite useful used in that way. I wouldn't say it's an amazing card, but certainly for some people, if that works for you, if that fits into your kind of tactics, then he could be a handy card to have, especially for the Turkish League Challenge. Not a terrible one, not an amazing one though. And next we have our first featured version of, oh crikey, Tayyib Talha Sanuç. I've definitely pronounced that right. He's got a face scan. Plays for Besiktas. Defensive fullback. This guy is normally a build-up centre-back, but they've added right-back. They've also very generously added right midfield as a semi-proficient position on a card you can't position train. Excellent. So normally a centre-back, got right-back as well. And I've got 2 positions we can play him. He's got a new playing style. Obviously he's got a very different build to his GP card, so it's difficult to make any comparisons. First time for the featured version, he's got a different position. They've done pretty much what you'd expect. He's not quite as strong defensively, better athletically and technically than his GP card, which is a centre back. So it's pretty much what you'd expect in terms of the way they've shuffled the points around from his GP card. And then skill wise, it looks like what they've added is man marking, blocker and fighting spirit. I don't think they've taken anything away. So you've got a pretty solid looking defensive fullback here. You've got heading and aerial, 6'2". He's not got amazing physical and aerial stats, but I think on the whole he's going to be pretty good in the air for a fullback. And then additionally, low lofted pass, that's the only real offensive or technical skill he's got when he gets on the ball. It's a decent one to have, but we'd like 1 or 2 more passing skills. But defensively, pretty good selection there. Man marking, search and blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit, as well as the aerial skills. The defense is all in the 80s before you get the game plan boost. Pace is probably the one real letdown on this guy as a defensive fullback. Physically he's strong enough as a defensive fullback. Balance, I think as a defensive fullback you kind of expect it's not going to be great, especially on a big physical defensive fullback. Stamina's fine. The passing I think is right. On the ball, again, as a defensive fullback you kind of expect it to not be great, especially when he's normally a centre back. So that's one concern there, along with the pace. So there's 1 or 2 concerns. Again though, it's a 4-star card. You can't expect everything from a 4-star card. If you don't mind a defensive fullback not being the quickest, I think on the whole this guy's pretty solid. Defensively with the skills he's got, the attributes he's got, and physically as well, and aerially, I think he's going to do a pretty good job of protecting you on the right-hand side of your defence. So like I say, if you really want your forwards to be better on the ball, a bit more pace, especially if you prefer an attacking fullback, then he might not be for you. But if you like a defensive fullback, you just want him to defend and you think you can get away with that kind of pace, I think it could be a solid card for you. And again, if you get that Turkish League Challenge especially, it could be a really useful option for that. Would you still play him as a normal position centre-back? For me, the defences aren't strong enough. Physically not quite strong enough. You probably get away with him if you're really desperate. He's got pretty good selection skills there for a centre-back. He's not disastrously bad anywhere, but yeah, like I say, on the whole, I don't think the attributes there defensively are strong enough to play centre-back. But if you're really, really desperate and need an emergency centre-back, he could do a job for you. But I think primarily he's a defensive fullback. He's a very defensive fullback because he's not great on the ball. He's not the quickest, but defensively and physically and with the skills he's got, especially for that Turkish League Challenge, he could be a solid one for a 4-star contract. And next we have a name I can pronounce. We've got Juan, or no, my luck, it's probably pronounced Juan or something. He's a goal poacher centre forward, no face scan, quite young, may well get a face scan at some point. He's normally a fox in the box. They've changed him to a goal poacher. It's the first time with a feature version of him. He's weaker for accuracy. He's gone up by 1. That's good. From his GP card, he's had a pretty nice boost everywhere, really, except they've taken 1 or 2 points off all of his dexterity attributes. The attacking awareness, the acceleration, and the balance. That's really annoying and doesn't really make sense. Again, player of the month, centre forward. Why are you going to make him worse with dexterity? That's just... I'm going to try not to run too much in this video. But yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. But apart from that, pretty nice boost compared to his GP card. It's pretty decent on the ball there. The passing's alright for centre forward. It's got a bit of pace, but honestly, on a centre forward, yes, it's a 4-star, but I'd like more speed, especially. Attack awareness, I'd like a bit more. Finishing, I'd definitely like more. So I'm not feeling too excited about this guy. What we've got skill-wise, not got too many skills here. So we've got first time shot, the most important one on a centre forward. They've added that. They've also added through passing, and he's already got one-touch pass. So passing attribute is not amazing, but for a centre forward goal poacher, decent, especially with the one-touch pass through passing. His passing is going to be all right for a centre forward. Pinpoint crossing, excellent. So he's got 65 lofted pass, and he's a centre forward, and they've given him pinpoint crossing. That's really useful. Thank you for that. And track back, if you like that kind of thing. So, and heading as well. So okay, we've got some decent skills here. Long range curler would have been nice. But yeah, ultimately, to be honest, I'm looking at this card, I'm thinking if it was a 3-star contract, I might be tempted. I might think it was all right value, but for a 4-star contract, I'm not too sure. If you get the Turkish League change, you don't have too many good striker options. Yes, could be a useful option for you, but on a goal poacher centre forward, I always say on a goal poacher, I want more speed. I want that the speed and acceleration mid-80s minimum, personally. So that speed's a bit low for me. The awareness is a bit low for me. The finishing is certainly a bit low for me. But he is decent on the ball. He's got decent enough passing for a centre forward. Got a bit of balance. He's got a little bit of physical strength about him as well. He's not the tallest. They've given him heading, but he's not the tallest. Jumping 80, he might win a few headers for you, but he's certainly not going to be dominant in the air. I think on the whole, he got a bit of an all-rounder of a centre forward here. I just don't think he's quite got the pace, the awareness, or the finishing to make him particularly good as a goal poacher. But there are a few decent, there's a few decent skills there, a few decent attributes. I don't think it's a terrible card. I just think for a 4-star contract, unless you still get the Turkish League challenge and you're really desperate for striker options in that Turkish League challenge, in that case, sure, he could be a handy one to have in your ranks, but outside of that, not particularly exciting one for me, really, sadly. Next up is Eren Elmalı. Hope I've said that right. So we've got an attacking left back. That's his only position. He does not have a face scan. Plays for Galatasaray, so I'm sure we'll get one at some point. We have actually had a previous version of this guy in one of the Turkish League packs. Pretty similar overall, really. This one's got more skills, though. They've added one-touch pass, pinpoint crossing, and fighting spirit. So yeah, not a massive difference between this one and the one from the Turkish League pack. They're taking a bunch of points away from his low body attributes, the speed, kicking power, stamina. That's very annoying. But we've still got good speed and stamina, to be fair. So not a massive deal, actually. And in terms of the boosted a bunch of things. Defensive awareness is up a bit. His physical and aerial strength are up. Better on the ball than he normally is, although still not great. Lofted passes up a bit. That's about it, really. So yeah, we've got some qualities with this guy. Again, it's only a 4-star. You can't expect everything. Pace on the whole, I think the speed is good. Acceleration, I'd like to be a bit higher, but with the speed already over 90, I think you can get away with that. I think the pace on the whole is fine. It's going to be quick enough. Physical strength, pretty good for an attacking fullback. Balance is just about okay. You're going to hit the 80 mark in the game plan boost. Stamina's going over 90 in the game plan boost. I think on the whole, down the right column, we're looking decent enough. Down the middle, just shy of 80 with all these, but when you get your game plan boost, you all these four of these are going to hit the 80 mark. So I think the right and middle columns are both looking pretty good for this guy, to be honest, an attacking fullback. The left columns where I've got a bit of a concern. On the ball, he's not going to feel comfortable. These 3 attributes on the ball, really not great. So be careful when you get the ball, get this guy on the ball. When you're in possession, don't start doing too much dribbling with this guy. Just try and take it slow, keep it simple, and certainly when you release the ball, be very careful with your passing, because 68 low pass is horrible. And again, like I say, with the update that we've just had today, it looks like the passing attributes can be even more important than before. So yeah, you have to be really careful with the low passing on this guy. But lofted pass has had a bit of a boost, and that's going to hit the 80 mark with your game plan boost. They have given him pinpoint crossing. So yeah, decent crossing on this guy. One-touch pass will help a bit. Defensively, blocker, great. Acrobatic clearance, good. Fighting spirit, good. Interception and man marking kind of missing. So Yeah, the concern for me with this guy is on the ball and the low pass, and the fact he's not getting interception, and I quite like man marking as well. I think interception is probably a bit more important, but there's a couple of skills missing, and he's a bit iffy on the ball. But outside of that, he does have qualities. Again, these are all 4-star cards. I'm going to be saying much the same thing about most of them. He's certainly got a lot of qualities, this guy. I think for the Turkish League challenge, again, if you still get to do that challenge, I don't think there are too many good left back options for that. Before they region locked all these events, so I used to do the Turkish League event, I only had 1 or 2 left backs and they weren't very good. So I imagine, unless there's been a whole bunch of good left backs since then, which I've forgotten about, it probably would be a pretty handy one to have this card to add to your left back options for that challenge. But certainly if you don't get the Turkish League challenge, I'm not sure about this guy. There are qualities. The right and middle columns are looking pretty decent. It's just that left column when you get him on the ball, and he is an attacking fullback, so these attributes on the left are quite important. And then defensively, 1 or 2 defensive skills missing. So there are qualities with this guy. When he does get forward, he's got a decent cross on him, but outside of that, when he gets forward, he's a bit iffy. But certainly there are qualities. So if you get a Turkish League challenge, I imagine this will be a pretty handy left back option for a 4-star. If you don't get the Turkish League challenge, I think the weakness is probably would mean he's not going to be the best value for a 4-star contract, but he certainly could do a job. He's going to have to be very careful mainly with these attributes here. So for some people, yeah, maybe could be a handy one, but there are weaknesses there and you're going to be very mindful of those. Next we have a goalie. We have got İrfan Eğribayat. I've probably said that wrong. He does not have a face scan yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets one at some point. He's been keeping Livakovic out of the team at Fenerbahce. He's an attacking goalkeeper, this guy. It's the first time I've got a feature version of him, and he's had a pretty good boost from his GP card, to be honest, apart from jumping, of course, because it's a trending goalkeeper card. They've added long throw. I think that's new. He's already got low punt, but keep an eye on those attributes. Low pass 51, lofted pass 54. I would recommend whenever you get the ball with this guy, just launch it downfield. Don't try picking any passes because his passing is just awful. But in terms of the goalie attributes, he's 6'4", I make that. Goalkeeper awareness is kind of iffy. I would like to be a bit higher, but he at least gets the +3. Catching and parrying not great, but the reflexes and reach are both hitting the 90 mark. So on the whole, for a 4-star keeper, I think for the Turkish League challenge, really solid option. Could be well worth having for that. If you don't get the Turkish League challenge, if you're new to the game or if you just don't have that many goalkeeper options, I think he could do a job for you. He's quite tall, he's got decent reach and reflexes there. Yes, the catching and parrying aren't great, and I'd like the awareness to be a bit higher, but I think on the whole, again, it's a 4-star contract that you're going to be using on this guy. I think for a 4-star contract, he's actually quite solid. I don't think he's amazing. It's not one I'm too excited about. I'm not going to be rushing to sign him with one of my 4-stars, albeit I've got a whole bunch. But yeah, I think on the whole, not an amazing one, but for the Turkish League challenge, very solid option. And even outside of that, if you're desperate for a goalie, whether you're new to the game or you just don't have any options, if this guy gets form in any week, yes, the distribution sucks and some of his goalie attributes aren't quite as high as I'd like them to be, but for a 4-star contract, I think he could be worse. I think he's a solid enough option for a 4-star goalie. And the last of our cards from Turkey, we have Kacper Kozłowski. Probably said that wrong. We've got a whole player. He's normally an orchestrator. You've got the normal positions that he has on his GP card, centre mid and attacking mid, but he's gone from being an orchestrator to a whole player. So orchestrator will be active as centre mid but not attacking mid, but he's now a whole player which will be active in both those positions. He does have a face scan. This guy is quite young, 21. I imagine he's a talent in real life. Who's he playing for? Gaziantep. Cool. So whole player, attacking midfielder or centre mid. We have not had any other versions of this guy, I don't think. What have they done from his GP card? They've nicked a couple of points off his dribbling. That's annoying on an attacking midfielder. So he's gone from a centre midfielder to an attacking midfielder. And he's lost a couple of points off dribbling. Cool. Lost a couple of points off lofted pass as well, and a couple of points off stamina. But apart from that, bit of a boost on his attacking awareness, on his finishing, his balance, his physical strength. Decent boost on the whole, really. What they've done skill-wise, just throwing a few skills in, it looks like. So long range curler, through passing, that's an important one, and gamesmanship. So we've got one touch pass and through pass. We've got long range curler, soul control. Got a decent section of skills here. So some of the most important skills in an attacking midfielder. But in terms of the attributes, I don't know. Is he great? I mean, he's not terrible. He's going to be tidy enough on the ball. He's not much of a dribbler. He's not got a great deal of pace. The attacking awareness, I'd like him to be hitting the 80 mark when you get your game plan booster on a whole player. Just to make the most of that playing style, he's making a lot of attacking runs into spaces. Passing, I would like to be higher. Again, with the update, passing attributes more important than they were before. Even before, I would have liked that low pass to be a few points higher. So I'm a little bit concerned about the passing, even with one-touch passing, through passing skills. Finishing 73 is not brilliant. He does have long-range curler. Decent enough balance. A little bit of physical strength on him. Yeah, I think on the whole, it's just another one of these cards where, yeah, it's a 4-star. You can't expect too much, but I just don't think it's that exciting of a card. I think for the Turkish League Challenge, could be a handy option. He's not the best, but he could do a job for you. But certainly outside of the Turkish League Challenge, I'm not sure many people are going to be picking this guy up and getting much use out of him. I don't see him getting into many people's squads for like divisions and so on. Yeah, it's just another card that even for a 4-star, I just don't think he's that great of value. As a centre mid, I'm not sure he's strong enough defensively or physically. He's got a bit of defensive ability. He's got a little bit of physical strength. No defensive skills, though. I think as a centre mid, you'd need 1 or 2 defensive midfielders behind him doing the defensive work. And as I always say, if you're going to do that, then you might as well push him further forward as an attacking midfielder. As an attacking midfielder, tidy enough on the ball, but is he great anywhere else? Passing, no. Shooting, no. Attacking awareness, not really. Pace, no. So a few qualities there, you know, some decent attributes, and he's certainly got a few decent skills, but on the whole, even for a 4-star contract, I don't think this is a great card on the whole. But for the Turkish League Challenge, if you do still get to take part in that, he could be a handy option for that, but I can't really say a great deal beyond that, unfortunately. So now let's head to Japan. We got 6 players from the J-League, and again, all of these are 4 stars. We have no more 3 stars. So let's start with this fella. So we got Tsukasa Shiotani. This guy has been around forever. He's a build-up centre-back. He's got a face scan. He's not the tallest for a centre-back, 182. He's 5'11". I think that's 5'11", just shy of 6 foot. Got unwavering form. There's not that many players with unwavering form in the J-League. So if you still get to take part in the J-League Challenge, that is a plus. We had a version of this guy in some kind of J-League pack. This one has way more stamina, but he's got way less aggression actually. So that previous version from some kind of J-League pack had a lot more aggression but less stamina than this one. Apart from that, I don't see any major difference really. From his GP card, the kind of boost you expect on a centre back in one of these Player of the Week or Player of the Month packs, it's basically pace, stamina, and passing. Really, that's pretty much it. So pretty standard trending centre back card in terms of the boost they've given him. And he kind of looks alright on the whole. It's not amazing. I mean, the biggest concern for me is, in addition to the fact he's not the tallest, his physical strength and his jumping aren't the best either. Does he have aerial superiority? No, he doesn't. Yikes. So yeah, aerially, there's a big concern with this guy. He does have some of the most important defensive skills here. What have they changed here skill-wise? They've added dipping shot, long-range shooting, and first-time shot. Fantastic. So some really useful skills on a centre-back there. But he does have man-marking, insertion, blocker. And those 3 are 3 of the most important skills on a centre-back, to be fair. So got some good ones there. Interception's a new one. They've thrown that in there. But yeah, like I say, even though he's got some of the most important ones for a centre-back, jumping 82, he's just shy of 6 foot tall, and he's not got aerial superiority. Big concern in the air. Obviously, if you did the J-League Challenge, then you're at least safe from Jan Koller in that challenge, because no one's going to use Jan Koller in the J-League Challenge, but there are some tall strikers in there. And if you're playing against someone who's putting a lot of crosses in, this guy could be a bit of a liability. The core defensive attributes down the middle, though, good. If you like more aggression, that will be a concern for you, but outside of that, you either get into the 90 mark or just shy of it with engagement. So he's pretty strong down the middle. It's not the quickest, but I think you can get away with that pace in the build-up, especially if you've got a low defensive line. Depends on your tactics. Down the left, not great on the ball. Could be worse, though, and the passing is decent enough. So, yeah, there are some qualities with this guy, but aerially a big concern. That physical strength, 82 physical contact for me is too low. So there are some pretty key concerns with this guy. I think they hold him back quite a bit. He's got other positions. Would you play him as a defensive mid or centre mid? No passing skills. He's not good on the ball. His passing, yes, it's not bad for a centre-back, but for a midfielder, not for me. If you're going to put him just in front of your defence, maybe as a defensive midfielder, and just have him defend, and you don't mind those technical attributes being a bit low, then yeah, maybe he could do a job for you that way, but I don't think he's anywhere near good enough technically for that. He's just not going to make the grade for me. So I'm looking at this guy really just as a centre-back. And as a centre-back, defensive attributes, yes, strong, but physical strength's a bit low. Aerial, big concern. So yeah, you got some quality with this guy. If you're really desperate, I mean, on my J-League account, my Japan account, he might well be getting signed on there. I might pick him up. He could do a job for me just because I've not got that many players yet, and I'm building a J-League squad. But unless you're in the same kind of a boat and you just want options for your J-League defence, I think ultimately this guy just doesn't quite make the grade as centre back. Yes, he's got some qualities in the important areas of defensive attributes down the middle and those defensive skills there, but aerial and physically, 2 very important areas. He doesn't quite make the grade there. So for some people, if you're rocking a J-League squad and you want more centre back options, maybe he could do a job for you. But I think even for a 4-star, the weaknesses he's got just hold him back, and he's not a brilliant one on the whole for me. And next is Taiki Hirato. I'm not familiar with this guy. He plays for Kyoto Sanga, box-to-box centre midfielder. He's only got standard form. It's the first time I've had a version of this guy. They've given a nice boost to his finishing from his GP card, his physical and aerial strength. They've nicked a point off his speed, interestingly. Don't know why, and his kicking power. Apart from that, though, decent boost. All the skills he's got are new. His GP card doesn't have any skills, so one-touch passing, through passing, interception. I would say those 3 skills are probably the first 3 I'd look for on a centre mid box-to-box. Outside curve is a nice one as well. He's not particularly two-footed. Occasionally uses weaker foot, so outside curve will be a nice one to have. Soul control, long range shooting. Yeah, ultimately you got a decent selection of skills there. Did the stats measure up though? Down the right hand side there, all kind of looking okay-ish. Nothing looking too great. Nothing looking desperately weak. I'd like a bit more physical strength and a bit more balance. They're probably the 2 attributes I'd like boosted the most out of these attributes down the right hand side. Down the middle though, a bit of a concern. He's not strong defensively. You've got centre mid and attacking mid. As a centre mid, he does need to be able to do his defensive work. Yes, he's got interception, but does that skill alone really make up for the defensive attributes? No. So he's not strong physically, he's not strong defensively. That's a bit of a concern. On the ball, he's okay. Passing, again, I mean, if you've got an 89 rated manager, that 84 will go up by 3. But it's a bit low for me. I do want a bit more on my passing even before the update. And as I keep saying with this update, passing attributes now look like they're going to be even more important. So it's a bit of a question mark just about everywhere with this guy. He's not looking brilliant to me. Would you get more out of him as an attacking mid than a centre mid? I would say probably, but even as an attacking mid, the attacking awareness isn't great. Finishing even with a big boost is not great. He might be better as an attacking mid, but I think it's a pretty similar situation really. You've got a player who, whether you use him as a centre mid with a box-to-box playing style active, or whether you use him as an attacking mid without an active playing style, some of the attributes are decent enough, but the rest not so much. There's nothing really great about this guy with the attributes. Yes, he's got some important skills there which will help. Skill set is pretty good, but on the whole, I don't think this is a great card. Even if it was a 3-star, I wouldn't be overly excited about him, but this is a 4-star. So again, like I said with Shiotani, if you get to do the J-League challenge and you're really desperate for centre mid options for your J-League squad, he could do a job for now, but the likelihood is that it won't take too long for you to pick up better options, because I don't think this is a brilliant card on the whole. And we have a goalkeeper in this pack as well. So we have Masaaki Murakami, who plays for Avispa Fukuoka. He's a defensive goalie. He has a face scan. All these guys are going to have face scans. Did I do the face scan on the last guy? I just had a moment of panic. I don't think I did. Yeah, I did. Of course I did. So yeah, Murakami, defensive goalkeeper, 6'1", pretty average height for keeper. He's not the tallest. Reach of 85 is not amazing, so that's immediately a slight concern. Not a massive one, but a slight one. High punt, long throw, penalty saver. It looks like they've added high punt and long throw. You already have penalty saver. It would be nice if he had a low punt as well, but we've really got a few skills there on him. And the core goalkeeping attributes looking decent. I would say on the whole, it's a pretty similar situation to the Turkish keeper. The awareness and the reflexes, I think, are good. Bit of catching power, not brilliant. Reflexes, reach, not so great. So when we're looking in the Turkish pack at Eğribayat, I hope I said that right, the goalie in there, it was the goalkeeper awareness that wasn't brilliant. With this guy, it's the reach is not brilliant. Apart from that, it's a similar story. It's a solid looking keeper for 4-star, to be fair. Again, if you still get to do the J-League challenge, I think this could be a solid goalkeeping option for that challenge. I don't think it's an amazing one, but certainly for that challenge, could be decent enough. If you don't get the J-League challenge, I don't think it's too bad, to be honest. I think for 4-star, certainly if you're new to the game, if you're really reading the goalkeeper options, again, I think I'm saying pretty much the same thing I said when I was looking at the Eğribayat. I keep saying his name wrong, I think. The Fenerbahce keeper. It's probably the same thing. If you don't get the league challenge, he could do a job if you're desperate. If you're new to the game, you don't have any goalkeeper options, or in any given week, you don't have any goalkeepers on form. If he does get form, which obviously this week he doesn't, he's on D, but if he does get form, I think he could do a job. I don't think he'd let you down. I don't think he'd be terrible. But again, though, that distribution, 50 low pass, 53 lofted pass, ouch. Don't try and pass the ball with this guy. Just get rid of it. Just boot it downfield as far as you possibly can. But if you just do that with this guy, yes, the reach is a slight concern. But apart from that, I think he could do it right for you. Not an amazing one, but for the J-League challenge, certainly a solid option for a 4-star contract. Outside of that, if you're desperate, could probably do a job for you. Not an amazing one, though. Just for a 4-star contract, I think you could certainly do worse as a goalie. And next we've got Takuma Nishimura. I was surprised we not had a version of this guy previously. I can't see one in the database on eFootball Hub. So it looks like our first version of Nishimura. He's normally a dummy runner. He's got his normal positions of attack mid and SS, but instead of being a dummy runner SS, he's now a whole player attacking midfielder. He's got a face scan. I remember signing this guy years back on Master League as a youngster. He was a nice little bargain signing. He's had a steady boost overall from his GP card. Doesn't look like anything's been boosted majorly. Just a nice boost across the board as far as I can see. Skill-wise, he has had a nice boost. They've given him first-time shot. That's a really good one to have. One-touch pass. He's already got through passing. He's got aerial superiority, interestingly, and a fighting spirit. So on the whole, we've got heading, acrobatic finishing, and aerial superiority. Not the tallest. What's that, about 5'9", 5'10", something like that. Jumping's not great. Yeah, he's not going to be great in the air, but if he does happen to get on the end of any crosses, he should be able to get you 1 or 2 goals that way. And he's got first-time shot, one-touch pass and through passing as well. Low pass 78 is not brilliant. I would not play this guy as an attacking midfielder. As I said with the guy in the Turkish League pack, I forget his name. I'm not going to try and pronounce it again, but the creative playmaker. Not great passing for an attacking midfielder, so I wouldn't use this guy as an attacking midfielder. But I think as an SS with the whole player playing style active, playing just behind the attack, he could be handy. You know, he's got good attacking awareness on a whole player, playing as a kind of number 10. The finishing at 80, I think, is okay, and on that kind of a player. Low pass with 80 with the game plan boost with one-touch pass and through passing. It still won't be brilliant, but I think on the SS you can get away with that. Not much of a dribbler, but you'll be okay on the ball. On the whole, 85 ball control, you'll be going +3. Well, at least with an 88 rated manager in the game plan boost, so good ball control. Pace, kind of average. Likewise, kicking power. I'd like a bit more balance on him. That's a bit of a concern. He's got a bit of physical strength, though. So, yeah, I think on the whole, he's got a decent selection of skills on him, this guy. With the shooting and the passing. He could be a handy one to have, just playing in behind the defence there. Like I said, I wouldn't personally use him as an attacking midfielder. I don't think the passing is good enough. But as an SS, yeah, I don't think it's too bad as a 4-star, to be honest. I think for the J-League Challenge could be a pretty handy option. Outside the J-League Challenge, could maybe do a job for you. Not too bad. Not amazing though. Nothing down the right here really looks great to me. The balance certainly is a bit low. Down the left though, he's kind of looking okay. He's really good awareness and decent finishing. So I think the focus with this guy will be more on getting into good attacking positions, which he will be good at with the whole player playing style and the high attacking awareness, and then taking chances for you. He's not going to be quite so much of a creator, but like I say, the pass is not too bad for an SS. He does have one touch and through. So for a 4-star contract, I think he could be handy as that kind of number 10 in that SS position. With the whole player playing style active, there's 1 or 2 attributes I'd like to be a bit higher. The dribbling, certainly the balance. But on the whole, for a 4-star contract, he could certainly do well. So I think certainly, especially in the J-League Challenge, it could be a handy one to have. And next we have Léo Ceará. So he's just been announced as, I think it's the player of the month. And that'll mean he's getting, I think, a Showtime card, which I believe is coming next week in the first J-League MVP pack of the season. So interesting they put him in here as well. He has been amongst the goals since he joined Kashima. But yeah, we've got a goal poacher. This guy's had a couple of playing stars. He's normally a fox in the box these days. They've made him a goal poacher on this card. He's previously been a deep line forward. And before I forget, it's weaker foot accuracies +1, so that's good. But yeah, previous ones, we've had a few player of the month ones, a couple of quite old ones. 2 of them are goal poachers, 1 deep line forward. None of them quite as good as this, but the 2 higher rated ones do run it a bit close. They're not too far off. There's a highlight version from the JD pack as well that's slightly better than this one actually, but that's a deep line forward, so very different playing style. But from his GP card, they boosted him on the ball. He's looking decent on the ball for goal poacher. Decent boost for his physical strength as well. 1 point off his acceleration for some reason. Fair enough. What's happened skill-wise? Taken away, looks like knuckle shot and penalty specialist are gone, and they've given him long range shooting. I think aerial superiority is new, and fighting spirit. So no acrobatic finishing, that's a bit of a shame, but we've got heading and aerial superiority in the air. Again, not the tallest, he's not got amazing aerial or physical attributes, so he won't be dominant in the air, but if he does get in the end of 1 or 2 crosses now and then, he could certainly be capable of scoring a goal with his head. But with his feet though, first time shot, long range shooting's been added, long range curler. Through passing is a nice one to have as well. Passing attributes not too bad on a centre forward for a goal poacher. So yeah, there's quite a bit to be said for this guy for a 4-star, but attacking when it's 83 is a bit too low for me. And that speed is 79 on a goal poacher. Yes, it's only a 4-star, but 79 speed. Yes, it will go over 80 with your game plan boost, but he's not the quickest. I would want quite a bit more pace on a goal poacher personally. Outside of that, yeah, like I say, on the ball, decent, passing, decent enough. Finishing at 85 is kind of borderline for me. You can get away with that, but I'd like it to be a bit higher. The balance isn't too bad. Likewise, the physicals. So in a bunch of areas, he's kind of somewhere between not too bad and decent. But the speed for me and the attacking awareness are a bit on the lower side. Again, he does have unwavering form. There's not too many players in the J-League with unwavering form. So if you're picking this guy up to use in the J-League challenge, could be a handy option as a centre forward. He does have some decent skills there. Just really acrobatic finishing is the one that I think is a shame not to have there. Apart from that, there's some good skills. So there's quite a bit to be said for this guy. But yeah, ultimately on a centre forward, even if it's a 4-star, as a goal poacher, personally, I would like more speed and a bit more attacking awareness. So that holds him back a little bit. I think he's an alright option on the whole. I may have just forgot to do his face scan. He's got a face scan. But yeah, on the whole, he's got some qualities, got most of the skills you'd want on a centre forward. I think there are a fair few people who could be a handy option in that J-League challenge. Outside the J-League challenge, for things like divisions, I don't think he's going to cut it. I don't think the speed or the awareness are high enough. Finishing's not that brilliant either. So yeah, it's not a particularly bad card, but one or two important attributes not quite as high as I'd like. So for the J-League challenge, could be a handy option. Outside of that, not the most exciting one. It's not terrible, but just not brilliant either. And the last of our 4-stars. I've been wanting a feature version of this guy for a while now. He's a solid right back in real life. Riku Handa from Gamba Osaka. Got a face scan, of course. He is an attacking right back. He's got right midfield as well, but I don't think you're going to use him there. He's not great on the ball. I think this guy's definitely best in his normal position of right back. They've not changed his positions or his playing style or anything. There have been a couple of highlight versions of this guy. I'm not sure if they're in packs that are only in Japan or if I just didn't spin them. Because, like I said, I've been waiting for a version of this guy. But one of the previous ones wasn't quite as good as this one. The other one is around about the same overall, but the stats kind of shuffled around a little bit. But from his GP card, what they've done, they've taken 5 points off his speed. I think he's still got enough speed personally, but taking 5 points off is a bit harsh. He's lost 1 off his defensive engagement and a couple of aggression. But apart from that, he's had a pretty nice boost everywhere, really. It's definitely a big improvement on him going forward, some of these technicals, compared to his GP card. And then skill-wise, one-touch pass is new, pinpoint crossing is new, apparently, and aerial superiority. So pretty good section skills on attacking fullback, really. It would be, in an ideal world, we'd have man mark as well, but defensively, to have interception, blocker, aerial superiority thrown in, sliding tackle, I don't think we can complain too much on a 4-star card, especially. One-touch pass, through passing, and pinpoint crossing going forward. He's not brilliant on the ball. The ball control could be worse. I think the ball control is just about okay. Dribbling and tight possession, not brilliant. So don't start trying to do too much dribbling with this guy. When you get on the ball with him, try and keep it simple. He's low enough to pass with the skills he's got, which should be decent for a fullback. Defensively down the middle here, 3 of them are already at the 80 mark, and awareness will join them. They're all going to be 80 plus with the game plan boost. Speed will hit 90, acceleration just shy of 90. Everything else down the right, I mean, well, to be fair, physical contact, that's a bit low actually. So I think in terms of the attributes, I would like maybe a little bit more acceleration. That's probably being a bit greedy, but the physical contact and the dribbling and tight possession, those 3 attributes for me are probably the 3 attributes I'd like to be a bit higher. But outside of those attributes and the fact that he doesn't have man marking, I think on the whole, you've got a pretty solid fullback here. For me, I think straight away I'm looking at this guy. I think this is the pick out of all the 4-stars this time around. I'm definitely going to get it. I think he can certainly do a job. I mean, physical strength is quite important in the game these days. That's probably the biggest concern. Some people probably won't mind the dribbling and tight possession being a bit low. I do think they're a bit low. But honestly, on the whole, only a few real weaknesses there. Skills on the whole, good. And he's got quite a few attributes that are pretty decent there. I'm a little bit surprised this is only a 4-star card, to be honest. I feel like looking at these attributes, he's got to be on the border. I mean, he is at 91. I think 92 would make him a 5-star. So he's obviously on the borderline. But I think for a 4-star, yeah, he looks pretty good. I think for the J-League challenge, could be a very good right-back option. But even outside the J-League challenge, I think this guy could do a job, to be honest. You know, like I say, it's just really the physical strength that's the major concern, but that's not disastrously low. So, yeah, even outside the J-League challenge, I think this, for me, looks like arguably the best of the 4-stars this time around. And I think it could be a pretty solid option for a lot of people. It's a pretty good, solid attacking right-back, this guy. So, out of all the whopping 12 4-stars we've got to choose from, these for me would probably be my picks. It's not an easy one this time around. I think you can make an argument for a lot of them. I think the 2 goalies, neither of them are amazing, but I think in both cases, be careful with their distribution. But beyond that, pretty solid options. I think if you get the league challenges for the J League or for the Turkish League, I think they certainly could be decent options for that. Outside of that, if you're really desperate, I think they could do a job. Neither of them are amazing, like I say, but for a 4-star contract, I think you could do worse. They're solid enough goalies for 4-stars. And then in the middle, we've got 3 fullbacks. I've put all 3 of the fullback options in here because I think all 3 of them could be decent options for you. As attacking fullbacks, you've got an attacking left back there in Eren Elmalı and Riku Handa on the right hand side. Both of them, especially Handa, I think could be solid options for you with Elmalı. I hope I said that right. He's just lacking 1 or 2 skills, a little bit iffy technically on the ball and stuff, but certainly in Handa's case, he to me looks like a very solid option. So 2 attacking fullbacks who, for a 4-star contract, especially in Handa's case, I think could give you pretty decent value. And then as a defensive fullback, yes, he's not the quickest, but if you're like a big, physically strong, defensive fullback to just really defend, and you don't worry about him doing, getting forward and doing much on the ball, then I think he could be a solid option for you, especially for that Turkish League challenge. And then 2 attacking players, I think it's Bilal Boutobba. Don't like him as an attacking mid. Don't think he's going to be too, don't think you're going to get too much value out of him on the left-hand side as a left footer. He's not got great cross on him, but if you play him on the right-hand side, and if you don't mind the creative playmaker playing style on a wide man, I think coming off that right wing onto his left foot, particularly with the long-range curlers, you could get some use out of him. He's not brilliant with the end product, but I think with a bit of pace, a bit of ability on the ball, and just that little bit of end product, he could be a handy one to have, especially for that Turkish League challenge. And then finally, Nishimura, I think he's another card where, I mean, it's the same case in most of these guys. These are 4 stars. You can't expect too much of them. But for a 4-star contract, if you'd like a whole player just behind the attack as an SS, like I said when we look at him just now as an attack midfielder, I don't think his passing is good enough. But with the passing skills he's got, I think he'd just about make the grade as an SS, because passing is not as important there. But certainly with the attacking runs he's got, the whole player playing style, making those attacking runs from the SS position, his ability to finish, I think he could be a handy one in the J-League challenge. And outside of that, he could maybe give you a bit of value as well. But yeah, like I say, these cards aren't too amazing for me. I think the only one that I really think is great value for 4 stars is Handa. Handa to me does look like it could be one of the better 4 stars we've had in quite some time, just in my personal opinion. Outside of that, nothing too exciting, but certainly there's some cards there but for a 4-star contract could give you some decent value. And now we move on to the 5 stars, and they've given us a whopping 6 to choose from. These are the art of passing cards, because obviously passing is a big thing with the update. So let's start off with Junya Ito, playing for Reims in France. He's got a face scan, of course. It looks like they've updated his hair at some point recently. I don't know if that's today. I'll have to check when I do my player face video. He's got unwavering form, this guy. He does seem to play well quite often in France as well, so quite a bit of AB form, I think. We'll see on eFootball Hub in a minute. He's a prolific winger, plays on the right. Prolific winger will be an active playing style as a right wing forward, but not as a right midfielder. You can position train him for just about any attacking position, which is cool. Skill-wise, we are going to see a few skill changes with these cards in this pack. So with Ito, it's quite straightforward. They've just added 1-touch pass. I don't think they've taken anything away. So we've got 1-touch pass and through passing. Got pinpoint crossing as well. Long-range curler. So if you position train this guy for the left, that could be a very handy skill. We'll see on eFootball Hub in a moment. And he's a super sub. He's always been a super sub. So he's got some good skills there. And there might be 1 or 2 ways we can use this guy. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. And let's see how well he trains up. So we'll max him out. We'll look at him as a right winger first. And he's pretty decent looking. So obviously he's got pace in the 90 speed acceleration. Kicking power's alright. Balance is decent. On the ball, pretty nice. It's a shame we're not quite hitting the 90 mark for ball control, but close enough. Passing, not brilliant low pass. He does have 1-touch pass and through passing though, which will help. Lofted pass 83. He'll have a decent enough cross on him. Not an amazing cross. Certainly not on auto allocation. But yeah, playing him on the right as a right footer could be a decent cross spam option, for want of a better way of putting it. As a right footer putting crosses in, could you spare some points from elsewhere and make his crossing even better and get his low pass up a bit? Got 1 point defending. Yoink, I'll take that. You could nick a bit off lower body. Shame to lose a bit of kicking power, but I think we can live with that. Will we just do that? To be honest, I would just do that, I think. That last one, I'll just put it on aerial instead of defending. Yeah, I'd be tempted to do that. You could afford to lose a bit of acceleration, but I wouldn't want to go any low on balance and certainly not attacking awareness. But getting that low pass up to 80, lofted to 85, I think it's probably worth it. Still quick and great on the ball. So, yeah, a handy right winger. Quick, good on the ball, got a cross on him. Yeah, if you're putting a lot of crosses in at the moment, it could be a handy option for you. As I mentioned before we came over to the hub, you can see here, he does get quite a bit of A and B form. He's had a few dodgy weeks as well, but he's had more good weeks than bad weeks. And he does look decent as a right winger. Would you train him in any other positions? I'm not sure his passing would be good enough if you made him an attacking mid. Certainly as a centre mid, he's not going to... Well, we'll look at it. We'll look at him as a centre mid, just to see how bad he is, yeah. Defensively and physically not strong enough to play centre mid. That'd be a hell of a waste of this player to use him as a centre mid. But as an attacking mid, I mean, they only put the low pass up to 82 as an attacking mid. That's interesting. Could Could be nick a few points from elsewhere, make him a better attacking mid. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, where are you going to get the points from? It'd be a shame to lose his pace. You don't want to take his attacking awareness down. You don't want to make him worse on the ball. And that only really leaves 4 points on shooting. Do you want to take the points off shooting and make his passing a little bit better? I don't think it's worth it. No, I think this guy's definitely best out wide on the right. So through the middle, not for me. The centre forward, if you can forget about the passing so much as the centre forward, it's not as important. Yeah, I don't know. Attacking awareness 81 and finishing 81. He's not got first time shot. These skills, like I say, eFootball was going to be playing up with the update. It always happens. I'm sure Konami just changed things in the background. They just create an absolute nightmare for the guys behind eFootball Hub. But yeah, he's not got first time shot. I'll just make it absolutely certain, actually. Hang on. Yeah, he's not got first time shot. So yeah, without first time shot, yes, you could give him it, but is it worth giving him it when he's only got 81 attacking awareness, 81 finishing? Not for me. I wouldn't be making this guy a centre forward. But I did mention he's got long range curler. I don't know why I'm scrolling down. The skills are all over the place, but he does have long range curler. As a right footer coming off the left wing, could you make him an inverted winger? You can certainly position train him. He's got long range curler. Let's just go back to the auto allocation, because that wouldn't be far off, to be honest. I think, to be honest, even just with the auto allocation, as a left winger coming onto his right foot, he could be pretty handy, you know. The passing is not brilliant, but it's not terrible. He does have one touch pass and through passing. On the ball, pretty tidy, good pace, decent balance. The attacking awareness, I would like it to be at the 80 mark, but he can't have it all. Finishing at 76 is not amazing, but with long range curler, if you're not putting a lot of crosses in, if you prefer having inverted wingers, whether it's a left midfielder without an active playing style, whether it's a left wing forward, where he would have the prolific winger playing style active, it could be a handy option for you. I think it could be decent there. I've got my Ito card. I've got the original Legend version. There was one of the early packs with Legends in. There was a Japan one. I got that pack. I've still got a few of the cards, including the Ito Legend card, and he's still handy for me, to be honest. And I've got in position trying to play on the left. He's handy left or right, so I can vouch for this guy, because this is a pretty similar card, to be honest, on the whole. There have been a lot of versions of Ito in the game. There have been 2 Legend versions, including the one I got, which is pretty similar. This is as good as either of them. The other one I don't think is quite as good. It's been a bunch of Player of the Weeks and a bunch of highlight cards. To be honest, if you look at the higher rated ones, including the Legend versions, this version of him matches up pretty well. It's up there with the better versions, really. It's a good version of him. So, like I say, the Legend version I've got, obviously his stats shuffled around a little bit, but very similar on the whole. And I can vouch for him. I think he's a decent one. He's quick. Feels pretty neat on the ball. He's got a little bit of end product. And like I say, you can position train this card, which is what I've done. You can use him on the left. And in my experience, whether he's on the right putting crosses in, or on the left cutting inside, getting those curlers away, he's a pretty handy one. So yeah, as a right winger or potentially a left winger, I think he certainly could be a decent option, well worth considering for 5-star. He's not necessarily one that most people are going to look at straight away and think he's going to be the best option in the pack, but he certainly could be an option as a right winger or a left winger. He's a decent card, this one. And next we have Paul van Hecke from Brighton. We've got a build-up centre-back. He has a face scan. He's got unwavering form. He's about 6'2", about 6'2", 6'3". And skill-wise, as I mentioned, we have seen some changes on some of these cards. This guy has had a few skills added, so they've not taken anything away, and they've added one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, float-lofted pass. So this is all about passing, obviously, and they're giving him a bunch of passing skills, which is great. He doesn't have too many defensive skills, though. We've got heading, we've got interception, we've got acrobatic clearance, we've got fighting spirit. You really need to give this guy a few skills. Man marking, blocker, and aerial superiority. I think those are the 3 that he really needs. If you give him those 3 skills, I think we're well sorted defensively, and you've got those new defensive skills I've added as well. So yeah, those skills I think are important to add, but if you do add those skills, you can have a really nice centre-back on your hands. But let's find out just how nice he is. Let's go over to eFootball Hub, and he is... Oh, I clicked the wrong button. There it is. Bosh. Decent. He's decent. He's not amazing looking, but he's decent. And the one area where you're looking first of all with these cards, obviously, is the passing. And for a centre-back, low pass 74 is decent. It's not amazing, but 81 lofted pass is decent. So you got, oh, again, the skills are all messed up on here, but one touch pass, through passing, weighted and low lofted, especially with the lofted passes, but also to an extent with low pass. He's going to have decent passing on him. Not too bad on the ball for a centre-back, pretty much par for the course. They have boosted his tight possession, actually. Tight possession and passing, I think, is where they're boosting the most. In fact, curls had a bit of a boost. I wonder if that's them telling us that curl plays a part in passing. Not sure. But tight possession, passing, low and especially lofted, curl, and kicking power. Again, are they telling us that kicking power plays a part in passing? It's very interesting, that, because I have just found quite recently that the kicking power attribute doesn't, or at least didn't, make any difference to how hard you kick a pass. It remains to be proven whether or not it impacts the accuracy of passes, but yeah, if they're increasing kicking power and curl on this guy when he's all about passing, I wonder if is that them telling us that kicking power and curl do impact passing. I know curl can have play a part. You know, players will put a bit of curl on a pass sometimes to curl it around an opponent and so on. But yeah, interesting boost they've given him. Certainly tight possession is an interesting one, but defensively down the middle, the most important things, this is still a centre back at the end of the day. In the 90s for all these attributes, that is great. On the right, not the quickest. He's not the slowest either, but I think most people probably prefer a little bit more pace on the centre back. Jumping, bit of a concern. He's not got aerial superiority, so aerial superiority even more important now we know his jumping is only 84. Let's have a quick look at his vertical reach. 274, so it's not disastrously low, but it could do with being a bit higher. And physical contact 88, kind of okay. I would still like it to be 90 plus though. So can we do much with the way the points are allocated? We can certainly nick one off defending. I mean, as you see here, as I always say, when you get past the 12 mark, these are in groups of 4. That one increase beyond 12 is 4 points. That's expensive when you're already at the 90 mark on all of these. So I'm taking that back. That's 4 points. Straight onto aerial. We've got 1 point spare. Can we nick a couple of points from his pace and get one more in his physical? I think we can. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 2 off lower body. I'm going to take 1 off dexterity. That means we can increase the aerial 1, get the 90 physical contact, but 86 for jumping. And you know when you get to that 86 mark, 1 increase will move it up by 2. And we got 1 point, which goes on, and goalkeeper 1. Bosh. 88 jumping, so now out to 277 jumping. I think that's well worth doing. Yes, he wasn't the quickest already, so it's kind of a shame to take a few points away from pace, but if he's already not the quickest, I don't think you're going to really notice much of a difference there. Still just about the 70 mile speed acceleration, but I think it's worth it for what we've just done to his aerial and physical strength on the centre back. Still got that nice passing, still 90 plus in all the defences down the middle there. I think that's a pretty solid looking centre back. He's just not the quickest. If you really like pace on a centre back, that will probably put you off this guy, but if you don't mind the lack of pace, certainly if you have a low defensive line, if you play a playing style such as long ball counter, then that might be a concern for you. For me personally, borderline for me, but he does have a lot of qualities, this guy. Physically and aerially, you can make him decent. Defensively, certainly he's very strong. And down the left there, as you can see, he's got some decent passing on him, especially with the skills they've given him. So, again, I don't know why I keep looking at skills there. They're wrong on eFootball Hub. But yeah, they're giving him the passing skills. He's going to have nice passing for a centre-back. He does still need those few defensive skills, though. Man marking, blocker, what was it? I forget now. Let's jump back over to the game. I'll remind myself. Yeah, man marking, blocker, and aerial superiority. Those are the 3 skills that you're really going to need to give this guy to finish him off, really. But if you give him those skills, yes, he's a little bit on the slower side, but on the whole, I think this is a very interesting centre-back card, and I think it could be a very decent option for a lot of people. In terms of positions, could you position train him for somewhere else? You can basically make him a fullback or a defensive mid. There's no way he's going to be quick enough for a fullback. Let's just quickly try. Yeah, the quickest you can make him is 79 speed, 72 acceleration. Yikes, not quick enough. Certainly elsewhere looks good, but yeah, on the whole, not worth making this a fullback. This guy a fullback. I don't think anyone would want to do that, but could you make him a defensive mid though? That's auto allocation for defensive mid, and that's just taking some off his aerial and putting a bit on passing and dribbling, I guess. I don't think he needs to be that strong defensively as a defensive mid. Let's just nick a few points from here. Can we make him decent enough? We've got the stamina to play as a defensive mid, to be fair. You can actually nick one from there. Or if we're giving ourselves 14 points. Why am I making this guy a DMF? Things I do. Yeah, you could do that. It's very, very strong defensively, physically, passing not the best, horrible on the ball. Yeah, you could if you want to, but I imagine just about nobody's going to want to do that. I think most people are going to use the guy as a centre-back, whether it's with the auto allocation there or whether you shuffle a few points around like I did, make him a bit stronger physically and aerially. I do strongly recommend that. I personally think that's worth doing. But whatever you do, he does need those skills. He does need a few defensive skills to finish him off. But if you give him those skills, if you don't mind the fact he's not the quickest, plenty to be said for this guy. And I think for a lot of people, this could be a really neat looking build-up centre-back. And finally, we've got a Çalhanoğlu card. I waited so long. Yeah, we've had about 1,000 versions as a guy. I think this is one guy we didn't need another card of, but it's going to be good. We always know it's going to be a good card with Çalhanoğlu. He's an orchestrated centre midfielder. He's got a face scan. He's got a bunch of positions he can play. He's got unwavering form these days. If you've got an old version, he may well have standard or even inconsistent form, so that might be an upgrade if you're comparing this to another version of him. Skill-wise, they've not changed any skills with this guy. So we've got the regular skills he's got. He didn't always have one-touch pass. I'm pretty sure he didn't used to have one-touch pass. But he's got one-touch passing now. He's got through passing. Got a few shooting skills as well. He's got a very nice shot on him, this guy. Weighted pass as well. Pinpoint crossing. Outside curler. But he's lacking any defensive skills, and that could hinder his ability to play in defensive positions. But it depends, because obviously you can put skills on this guy. So you could give him things like interception, man marking, blocker, play him as a DMF. But we'll see how good he trains out though. We'll check out how the attributes look on eFootball Hub. So Çalhanoğlu all trained up, all boosted on this card, looks pretty tidy, and it's obvious what stands out. His passing is ridiculous. So they've actually boosted his low pass. That's one of the biggest boosts he's had. +4 in his low pass at level 1 compared to his GP card, and his physical contact's had +4 as well. He does need a bit of boost on that. Still a bit on the low side, to be fair. Everything else has either been boosted by 1 or 2 or nothing. So it's just a bit more low pass and physical contact really compared to his GP card. And as I mentioned, we've had a lot of versions of this guy. Depending which version you got, quite a lot of them player of the week or trainable versions, quite a lot of them go a bit higher. And it's obviously there's a legend version that's better, but there's a bunch of player of the week cards and highlight cards that do go slightly higher, whether you train him as a centre mid or attacking mid. But it just comes down to what kind of build he's got, because depending what version you got, you might have one like, for example, the one that's in the Inter Milan pack that had the kind of build they put on that one made him more viable as a defensive midfielder than most other versions. Whereas this version of him, not so viable as a defensive mid, but slightly better going forward than the one in the Inter pack. So like I say, depending on which version you've got, he might be better depending on the way you want to use him, or he might be worse. If you got the one from the penalty game last year, stats are shuffled around, not a massive difference. So yeah, in terms of comparison, not most, but a lot of the previous versions of Çalhanoğlu are better than this one. But like I say, they're not necessarily better for the way you plan to use them, and there are a bunch of ways you can use them. So let's just quickly have a look at how good he is in different positions. We'll start from the back. Defensive midfielder is most defensive position you can give him. That's with auto allocation. He could be usable there, to be fair. You would need to give him the skills, like I say, interception would be crucial. I would give him man marking, blocker as well. We don't know yet how important passing is in terms of the thresholds where you really need the passing attribute to be. That remains to be seen. I'm sure some people will do some real testing and stuff over time, but I'm going to assume that the 90 mark could still be around about high enough. That's what I've always gone for. It's always done all right for me. If we did that, that gives us enough points to nudge his tackling up to the 80 mark. You could actually go one high and get the defensive engagement up to 80. Apparently defensive engagement now is more important. They've suggested that's an important that attribute's become more important now. So if you're going to use him quite deep and you do want him to do his defensive work, that might be worth doing. He's not brilliant on the ball, and his pass is not as high as it was, but I think it's still alright technically if you're going to play him as a DMF. But defensively, he's going to be a lot more competent that way. Down the right, just about okay. Obviously, the kicking power is fantastic. Everything else is kind of just about okay-ish, really. So, on the whole, is this the best version of Çalhanoğlu to use as a defensive midfielder? No, certainly not as a standalone defensive mid. If he was in some kind of double pivot, maybe, but still, I think there's probably other versions that are better. And on the whole, I don't think he'd be that amazing in that role. I think he'd be kind of wasting the card using him that way. I think a better way to use this guy is to push him further up the pitch and make use of what he's best at, which is getting on the ball, creating chances, and shooting at times, albeit his finishing is not amazing. But let's just go back to auto allocation as a centre mid. Again, there's a lot of points on passing there. If you're not too bothered about the defensive ability, you're going to use him more as a playmaker. You've got one or two midfielders behind him doing the defensive work. You could just leave him not so strong defensively. We've done one build where we beat his defensives up. Let's just focus on the technicals now. I'm going to take a few points of passing, but I will leave it at 94 this time. I'll nudge his ball control to 90. We'll get a few on his shooting because he does have those shooting skills. He's got a really fun shot on him, this guy. He's got the kicking power. He's got the shooting skills. What else can we do? Let's give him some dexterity. Let's just nick some defensive points off defending, actually. We'll get that dexterity, up high enough that he gets 80 attacking awareness. 3 points left. But anyway, really, stick one on lower body. I think that'll do it. So still not the quickest, but he's got a bit more pace on him. Certainly the acceleration going over 80. The kicking power's on 92. Balance is all right, getting over 80 now. But that attacking awareness getting up to 80. Got the ball control on 90. Still got really nice passing. Put a few points on finishing. I think as a deep line playmaker, if you're not going to worry about this guy being too good defensively, you want to focus on what he's good at. That could be a really nice build. Technically very nice. Get him on the ball. Could be really, really effective as a centre mid with the orchestrated playing style. Like I say, as long as you've got at least one other midfielder there doing the defensive work, like maybe he's a man or destroyer, just get this guy on the ball. As a centre mid orchestrator, deep line playmaker can be very, very nice. As an attacking midfielder, take those last 4 points off defending. It's not a lot. Where would you put him? I would probably just go lower body, to be honest. Get to the 80 mark for speed. Even more kicking power behind those shots. That last point, just shove it on aerial. Yeah, so not much difference really. Could be very tidy. I've had 1 or 2 versions of Çalhanoğlu. I've got one from the most recent Turkey pack. And it's been pretty nice for me. I've used it in the Italian League Challenge a few times. I don't mind him as a wide man, to be honest. He's not the quickest, but with the end product he's got, with the passing, the shooting and the crossing, can be very handy right or left flank. I've used him as an attacking mid as well. I'm actually quite tempted to position train mine as an SS. I feel like he could be really interesting there. I think the build I've just done here would probably be the build I'd do for that position, to be honest. I'd maybe take a bit more of passing as an SS, actually. Get that dribbling up to the 12 mark. Use that last point from aerial. Yeah, I'd probably do something like that. I think that's roughly how mine's built, to be honest. I'd be quite, and like I say, I'm quite tempted. I've been thinking a little bit about making mine an SS. You could do that. I think you could be very effective there. Attacking awareness at 80, tidy enough on the ball. He's certainly not a dribbler by any means, but he's gonna be able to control the ball. He's certainly be able to pass it. Shooting could be better, but with the shooting skills he's got, he'll get 1 or 2 goals for you. So yeah, through the middle as some kind of number 10 or a deep line playmaker, technically very nice. It's not the best version of Çalhanoğlu, like I say, but it's still a tidy one. If you don't have a good version already, or if you have a version already that's not as good as this one, then it could well be a good one to pick up with your 5-star contract. And just finally, to use him as a wide man, not a lot you can do really, because where you're going to spare the points, you need a bit more pace, but you wouldn't want to take him away from his dribbling ability. And you've only got 4 on each of shooting and passing. I don't think I'd do much. I'd just accept the fact he's not the quickest. And as I often say, with this type of a card, if you're going to use him out wide, kind of a Beckham style winger, there's someone like Beckham who never really had that much pace, but it was all about the end product. If you used him that way on the right hand side, he's got, again, obviously the skills are wrong on here, but he's got pinpoint crossing, lofted 90, curl 91, kicking 93. He's going to have a fantastic cross on him. So yes, he's not the quickest, but if you put him on the right hand side just for the end product, could be a brilliant right winger. And then on the left hand side, cutting his side into his right foot, he can pass the ball for sure, but he could also pop a few shots away and be pretty effective at getting a goal for you. Like I said, I've used mine in that way. I've used him on the left, on the right, and through the middle. Technically very tidy. He's not the quickest or the most nimble, but he's all about end product, this guy. So yeah, it just depends. If you don't have a good version of him already, and if you like the look of him, you like a deep line playmaker who's all about his on the ball ability, not so much the defensive ability, could be really great for you. But if you've got a version already, it just depends what version you got. You may well have one that's either higher rated or that's just better for you in the way that you want to use him. Because like I said, there's a bunch of ways you can use him, and depending which version you have, this version may or may not be better for you. But on the whole, it's just another Çalhanoğlu card. Really, it's not the most exciting one, but it does have a lot of quality. And like I say, in my experience, there's a few ways you can use him, and he can be a very effective one to have. So I imagine a fair few people, even though it's certainly not the best version we've had of Çalhanoğlu, there'll be a fair few people who still find this guy a pretty good use for a 5-star contract. And next up is Grimaldo from Leverkusen. So we've got a fullback finisher, left back. He's got a face scan. He's got unwavering form again. Got a few of unwavering form in his packs. And then skill-wise, just one change they've made. They've taken away Scotch move. I think we can live without that. They've added one-touch pass. So one-touch pass and through passing. Obviously, I think they're pretty much making sure all these guys have got one-touch and through because of the passing theme. We've got long-range curler. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be for a guy who can only play on the left. I'm sure he's played on the right for Leverkusen at times. I'm quite surprised they've not got right midfield or right wing, at least as a semi-proficient position. But yeah, long-range curler, not going to be the most useful skill in this guy. Long-range shooting could be handy. Depends how you use him. But one-touch through, pinpoint crossing. And then all you've got really defensively is sliding tackle. So depends how you're going to use this guy. You're going to have to think about whether he's a left back or a left winger. I used to have the original GP version of this guy. In fact, I've still got it. And it was great for me. I used him as a left winger, and he was always really, really good for me. I loved using him. I eventually picked up 1 or 2 better left wingers, so I've not used him so much in recent months, but I've always fancied a featured version to use as a left midfielder, so quite keen on this one myself, because like I say, he's always been good for me. He's very nimble, he's nippy, he's got a decent cross on him as well, so he's a very tidy left winger. But like I say, if you're going to use him as a left back, I think you need to give him a few defensive skills. I would start with interception. I would recommend man marking and block as well. But yeah, let's have a look at how good he's going to be as a left back and a left midfielder though. So let's jump over to the eFootball Hub and let's get more trained up. And certainly as a left back, that looks like a pretty tidy card to me. So the only obvious weakness I'm seeing there, physical contact is a little bit weak physically, but apart from that, the pace is alright. I'd like a bit more speed in the fullback, but it's not too bad at 88, and the acceleration's at 90. Good kicking power there. Balance is decent enough. Stamina's great. Defensively, all in the 80s there. I think they must have boosted him quite recently, his GP card, because they've not boosted his defenses much from his GP card on this version of him. What they have boosted, really, they put a bunch of points on his speed and on his low and lofted pass, and that's about it from his GP card. Everything else is not had the biggest boost. It's mostly just 1 or 2. So I think his GP card must have had a defensive buff quite recently, because if you look at previous versions, they don't tend to be so strong defensively. We've had a couple of Player of the Week versions of him. The more recent one's the better one. And it goes to a slightly higher rating than this one as a left back and a left midfielder, but that's mainly for more speed and attacking awareness. This one is considerably stronger defensively. So like I said, I think they have boosted his defenses on his GP card quite recently. It's not just this card. But yeah, certainly the higher rated of the two Player of the Week cards does look comparable to this one in terms of overall rating, but just depends how you want to use them. They are shuffled around the stats a bit. Certainly defensively, you're looking good on this card in comparison. There has been a trainer war in some kind of legend box highlight card. I think it's one of those ones with a dark green football background. Again, that one had more speed, less defensive. Same story, really. But you can train it, so depending on how you want to build him, could be slightly better or worse than this one. Just depends how you want to use him. But I think as a left back, you're probably going to prefer this one because of the defensive boost that he's had at some point recently. So yeah, as a left back, like I say, looking pretty decent. I'd like a bit more physical strength. Maybe a little bit more speed if I was being greedy. But on the whole, pretty tidy. He is a fullback finisher. Keep that in mind. It's not a playing style I like as a left back. I don't like it at all, because a fullback finisher will go wandering inside and drifting up into the midfield, and they will pop up around the edge of the penalty area as well. They are very attacking. They will wander out of position a lot. I don't personally like that. If you do like that, and a lot of people do, then I think this is like a very tidy card. He's certainly got the passing. That low pass at 80 is not amazing, but for a fullback, it's decent. He does have one-touch pass and through passing. Again, I don't know why I'm scrolling down because it's a mess down here, but he does have one-touch pass and through passing. He's got pinpoint crossing as well with 88 lofted, so when he gets forward from left back, he can pass and he can certainly cross. He's tidy enough on the ball. All that's defensive in the 80s. Pace decent. Kicking power. It's just that physical strength he's lacking, really. So as an attacking left back, albeit he's got the fullback finisher playing style, I think it's pretty tidy. It's a really interesting card, this. Like I say, he looks much better defensively than I've seen any Grimaldo card. So if you like a fullback finisher, I think this could be a pretty neat card to pick up. But like I mentioned before he came into eFootball Hub, you do need to give him a few defensive skills, because even though he's a very attacking player, moving forward with that fullback finisher playing style, he still needs to defend at times. So give him a few defensive skills. And yeah, outside of the slight lack of physical strength, he looks like a pretty tidy option. And then, as I say, you've got left midfield as well. And just to quickly rule it out, he's only 171 centimetres. I don't think this is going to be a particularly good centre-back. No, he's not going to be a glitch centre-back for anyone. Decent down the middle there, mind you. But yeah, physical strength, absolutely not. And he's tiny. So forget about centre-back. No one's going to be crazy enough to train him for that. But as a left midfielder, auto allocation is put 2 on defending still. I'll take those back. Thank you very much. He's not going to be defending as a left winger. They've just put 8 on all of these and 4 on shooting. To be honest, I'll take those 4 off shooting. He's still going to be in the 80s for Cole. You're not going to be doing too much shooting with this guy. If you're going to play him on the left wing, you're going to be getting on the ball. You're going to get them to the byline. You're going to whip some crosses in. Shooting is not so important. Lofted pass at 92 there. To be honest, you could take a couple away from that. I think low pass 82 with one-touch pass and through passing is fine on a winger. Lofted pass at 90, a bit of curl. Pretty decent kicking power. He's going to have a very nice cross on him. On the ball there, going to increase that just by 1, because we see that we're at the 86 mark fully boosted. Increasing that by 1. Going to go up by 2. I think that's worth doing. Speed's a bit of a concern. We've got a bit of a conundrum here, so I'm going to put the remaining points on speed there, because that is important, but that attacking awareness at 73 sucks. It would be nice if we could boost the dexterity. So bit of a conundrum there. You need more speed, but you also need more attacking awareness. So do you put more speed, more points on lower body or dexterity? It's up to you. Personally, I'll just accept the fact his attacking awareness isn't brilliant, and I'll go for a bit more speed because I think that is important. But yeah, that's a slight concern in the attacking awareness. But outside the attacking awareness, tidy on the ball, can have a nice cross on him. His passing is not going to be bad at all for a wide man. Can still do a bit of defensive work. Speed at 85 is not amazing, but on a winger, you're going to be getting up and down the touchline, whipping crosses, and I think you can get away with that speed, certainly. But the acceleration is fantastic. Kicking power is good. Balance is decent. Stamina is good. As I mentioned, I've got the original GP version of this guy. I've not compared it to this one yet, but this is certainly not going to be any worse. This is going to be very comparable to the one that I've got. I'm pretty sure it's better. And in my experience using this guy as a left winger, like I say, nippy, nimble, Feels very nice on the ball. He can cross a ball. If you're putting a lot of crosses in at the moment, you like a left foot on the left, a right foot on the right, putting cross into the box, I think this could be a very viable option as a left winger. So you've got a couple of ways you could use this guy. Keep in mind the playing style, and keep in mind the fact he desperately needs a few defensive skills. But those two things notwithstanding, he could be a very, very nice left back option for a lot of people. Or if you want to train him as a left midfielder, like I say, you can see it from the stats. But like I say, from my personal recommendation as well, from having experience of using his old GP card as a left winger, I think he could be a very tidy left winger, getting up and down the left-hand side, whipping crosses in as well. So a couple of ways you could use him. And if either of those ways work for you, it could be a very handy card to pick up for one of your 5-star contracts. And which other goalkeeper are they going to use in a passing pack than Ederson? Of course, Ederson gets in. So attacking goalie, only standard form. And in skill-wise, they have, of course, given him a bunch of new skills. One-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, and low-lofted pass. He's already got low punt, long throw, penalty saver. So when it comes to distribution, this guy is going to be very nice. Is he as good as his Player of the Week card, though? Not quite. But certainly this is going to be a good version of him. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. So as you can see, you get more fully trained up. He's pretty solid. The one slight downside with Ederson, he doesn't have great arm coverage or arm reach, whatever you call it. See, 168. It's a little bit on the short side, so reach only 89, coverage not the best. That's a slight concern there, but it's not terrible. He does have good awareness. Parrying's great. Goalkeepers quite often don't have great parrying or catching, but he's got good parrying. Catching's not brilliant. Reflexes, it'd be nice if we either reach or reflexes, or ideally both of them would hit the 90 mark, but I'm guessing we've only got 4 points to play with here. Yeah, we do. So we'll take those points away. Take your pick, really. I think ideally I'd like to make reflexes on reach 90, but if you're only picking one, I personally pick reflexes. It might be more sensible to go for the reach since he's not got the longest arms. But either way, it's not going to make a massive difference. I'm going to put the last point on passing, to be honest. So yeah, we have had that Player of the Week version of Ederson. Now had a few more points on catching and on his low and lofted pass as well. So a bit better than this one, but this is certainly a nice alternative. A lot of people wanted that card and didn't get it, and were very disappointed. But if you didn't get it, you got one that's not too far off, to be honest. I imagine those people would be very pleased with this one. It's got very similar core attributes to the best trainable versions of Ederson, to be honest. So if you got one of those, I personally got one from a Legend box ages ago. I'm pretty sure it's the one that had Denilson, Romario, and Neymar in it, maybe a year and a half ago. That one and one from an old Man City pack are the highest rated trainable versions we've had of Ederson. And like I said, the core goalkeeping attributes are pretty similar on the whole, to be honest, but we've got that boost to the passing on this one. And they have boosted his passing. Low and lofted both been boosted. His goalkeeper awareness had a bit of a boost, and his kicking power has been boosted a bit as well. He gets to the 90 mark. In fact, it is at the 90 mark because he's not put any points on nobody. So that's nice. Great kicking power. Again, is that telling us that kicking power plays a part in passing? I'd really love someone to test not just the impact that it has on how hard you kick the ball, but the accuracy. I would like that for someone to prove that. But yeah, on the whole, yeah, you've got a very nice version of Ederson here. Like I say, in terms of the goalie attributes, when you factor in his reach, 6'2", not got amazing arm length, the reach only around the 90 mark. He's not going to have the best coverage. He's not going to be one of the best goalkeepers around, but certainly he's not a bad one. He's a solid one. And the big positive with this guy, as you'd expect from a goalie in this pack, he's going to be among the best goalkeepers for distribution. So yeah, the skills they've added, the boost on his passing, the fact he's still very, very competent at goalkeeping. This is a very interesting card. The one that I mentioned from a Brazil pack, some kind of Legend box, the one that I've got, very similar to this one. I've been very happy with them. I've actually already put a load of passing skills on. If you watch my streams, I've probably already shown you. I've got one touch pass, through passing, outside curler, weighted pass, and I think low lofted pass on mine. So I already went ham on the passing skills on mine, and it does make a difference. So yeah, I can speak from experience because this one's already got a bunch of the skills up. Again, ignore that. But yeah, this one's already got a bunch of the skills that I put on mine. He's got similar passing attributes to mine because I put a few points on the passing attributes of my one. Slightly higher on this one, of course, because they boosted it. So I can tell you from experience, he's been good enough in goal, but certainly with the distribution, it does make a difference. So if you want a goalie who's not necessarily the biggest or the best at goalkeeping, albeit he is still good, but he's got really good distribution, then yeah, this could be a really good option for you. So especially those who missed out on the Player of the Week card, this one could be a really fun goalkeeper card to pick up. And we finish up with Harry. We've got another Harry Kane card. He's got his regular playing style, deep lying forward. Of course, he has a face scan. He's got unwavering form. He's on D this week, though. And skill-wise, they have given him, surprise, surprise, one-touch pass and through passing. They've done away with a couple of skills to make room for them. I think gamesmanship and captaincy are the ones, so we can live without those, I think. One-touch pass and through passing, very nice additions. We've already got first-time shot, got long-range curler, got heading, acrobatic. Really good selection skills on the centre forward. Let's jump over to eFootball. How good is this Harry Kane card? It is pretty good. So one interesting thing with this card, apart from the changes I made to his skills, it's the boost that it's the kind of the changes they've made to his attributes. So at level 1 compared to his GP card, they've not just boosted a few, they've actually taken some points away. They've taken 4 points away from his attacking awareness. They've taken 2 points away from his finishing, which at first you're thinking it's crazy and you think that's a bit annoying, but he's still at 93 awareness and 94 finishing with auto allocation. So I think we can live with that, certainly when you look at the boost, because they put 3 points on dribbling, they put 4 points on low pass, they put 9 points on his speed, and they put 13 points on his acceleration. So a big boost to his pace. That's one thing that really holds Kane back and puts a lot of people off him. But even though he's not quick now, he's certainly got a lot more pace than he normally does, and he's got a bit more passing and dribbling ability. So this is an interesting conversion of Kane. Still got horrible balance, though. It's a bit of a shame. Always has that, but a bit more pace about him, like I say. The low pass being boosted a bit, one-touch pass and through passing thrown into the mix. You suddenly got a deep line forward who is actually pretty well built to be a deep line forward, which he isn't always. There have been a lot of versions of Kane. There have been a bunch of Player of the Week cards. To be fair, most of the Player of the Week cards are as good as this card or better, but the stats are kind of shuffled around. They don't all have through passing as well. The skills that tend to be shuffled around a bit as well. So yeah, if you've got a good Player of the Week card of Kane that you like, then you won't consider that you need this one, but it might come down to the skills, it might come down to the way that the stats are kind of shuffled around, it might come down to the playing style as well. I've got a Fox in the Box version of Kane for Player of the Week. I'm very happy with that one. I have no interest in getting a deep line forward version, but if you do like a deep line forward, like I say, with the way they boosted the passing, with the one-touch pass and through passing skills being added, this could be a really nice version of Kane for you. He's comparable to the better trainable versions of Kane, including the one from a recent buy-in pack. And also there's been a couple of freebies. There's one in I think a Tsubasa or Blue Lock one. There's another one, a kind of dark red background freebie that was given out as well. This one has a bit less awareness and finishing and kicking power than those better trainables, but we've got more pace and passing than most versions of Kane. We've obviously had a couple of Showtime versions that are better than this one, that goes without saying. But when you look at his GP card as well, pretty much the same story. It's the way they've taken those points away from awareness and finishing, and it's the pace and the passing, really. So yeah, as a deep line forward, I think they made him more better suited to that playing style. A deep line forward obviously would drop deep from that centre forward position. They'll get involved in the build up, much like he does in real life. He is very much a deep line forward, and with the way his passing has been boosted, I think he could be well suited to that role, because he's better on the ball with that +3 on dribbling, better passing, still got great awareness and finishing, and he's a little bit more manoeuvrable as well now with that significant boost they give into his speed and acceleration. So yeah, on the whole, in a way, it's just another Harry Kane card, but giving him a bit more pace and passing, not just with the attributes, well, just low pass really has had the boost, but with the one-touch pass and through passing as well. I think it's a very interesting version of him, and it just, as I mentioned already, it just comes down to what version you've got already. If you've already got a version, if you've got a version already and you prefer it, like as in my case, then you won't need this one. But if you don't already have a good version of him, or if you have a deep line forward version that's not got the attributes and the kind of boost that they've given him on the attributes they've given him a boost on, particularly his pace, this could be a very nice version. I think he's very well suited to playing as a deep line forward. Could you shuffle some points around even? Yeah, you could. You could take some off shooting, leave it at the 90 mark. I wouldn't really want to lose any balance, but you could certainly take some off attacking awareness. Let's just see how good could we make his passing. They only had 1 on his passing at auto allocation. You can just 4 on passing gets him to 88 low pass. Let's get it to 90. Why not? And let's get his dribbling up to 80. And if we go +1 on lower body, you see with the 86 mark on kicking power, that's going to go up to 88. There you go. That might be worth doing, to be fair. So he's still considerably quicker than he usually is. Still got good kicking power, albeit sometimes is higher than that. Still got a bit of physical strength. The balance was bad already, so I don't think you're going to really notice much difference taking a few points away from there. But we're still at the 90 mark for attacking awareness and finishing there. We've gone up to 90 for low pass. That ball control to 88. The dribbling and tight possession, both 80+. I would personally do that. I think as a deep line forward, that looks really interesting to me. There's not many centre forwards who got up to 90 low pass, especially with the one-touch pass and through passing skills. That could be a really, really interesting version of Kane. You could even position train him as an SS and use him as an SS deep line forward and play him even deeper. I think he's pretty viable there. Yes, the balance is horrible, but outside of that, he's got a bit. Like I say, he's got a bit more pace and manoeuvrability than he normally does. He's going to be tidy enough on the ball, and that passing is fantastic on a centre forward. He's still got 90 awareness and 90 finishing. So yeah, whether you go auto allocation or whether you're training the way I just did there, which I think is very interesting, I think you've got a very, very interesting deep line forward there. And if that playing style works for you, then I think this version of Kane could be very appealing to you. So my 5-star recommendations, honestly, I don't think I'll pick anyone out in particular, really. I think out of all these 6, it just depends on what you're looking for. You want a right winger to spam some crosses in, Ito could be great for you. You want a left winger to spam some crosses in, Grimaldo could be great for you. We want a very attacking left back, Grimaldo could be really interesting for you. Give him a few defensive skills with that fullback finisher playing style that works for you from left back. He could be really, really nice. He looks like a very decent card. Ito, before I forget, position training for the left hand side. Low range curler could be very handy coming off the left wing onto his right foot. Van Hecke, not the quickest. I would shuffle the points around as I did when I was reviewing him a few minutes ago. Get him a bit stronger aerially and physically. But I think if you do that, you give him a few defensive skills, he could be a very nice build-up centre back for you. Çalhanoğlu, certainly not the best version of him that we've had, but the stats are always shuffled around. You may find, depending on how you want to use him, that it's a good version. Certainly could be a better version than the one you've got if you've got one. But you know what you get with Çalhanoğlu. It's really just another Çalhanoğlu card. Technically fantastic. Loads of end product. Harry Kane, as we just looked at, I think it could be a very interesting deep line forward. I personally would shuffle the points around like I did and get that low pass up to 90. I think I could make him a really, really interesting deep line forward. Not many people like that playing style, but if you do, I think that could really appeal to you potentially. And then Ederson, you know what you're getting from Ederson. Good goalie, maybe not the biggest, maybe not the best, but he's still good in goal. But he's got that bonus of having fantastic distribution. So all 6 of those cards for me could be viable for anyone. Just depends on what you're looking for. Personally, I think I'm probably going to pick up Grimaldo, and that might be it for me. I don't know. I'll see. They look decent to me. I've got a Legend Ito, so I don't need him. Not sure about Van Hecke. Çalhanoğlu, don't need him. Got a good version. Harry Kane, don't know. I've been getting a bit of a tune out of my Baggio deep line forward lately, so maybe Harry Kane could be decent for me. I'm not sure. Ederson, I don't need. I got the player of the week when I was lucky to get him, but yeah. Like I say, it just depends on what you're looking for. It depends what versions you got of these guys, but I wouldn't pick any of these out and say that he's better value than all the rest. I think they all could be very viable for just about anyone. Just depends what you're looking for, really. Mathematics time. So nothing has changed with the numbers on Match Pass. It costs you 400 for the value, 800 for the premium. If it's your first time purchasing either of these, you'll get half price. So you've got 200 off the value if it's your first time with the value, and likewise the premium, you got 400 off. If you complete enough matches to get all the objectives, you'll get 130 coins back from value, you get 170 back from premium. So there are your numbers to help you make a decision whether to get each of these match passes. But most importantly, we need to look at how good these cards are. So we've got João Neves as our value match pass player, and then from the premium we've got De Jong. Let's just jump straight to the eFootball Hub and we'll have a look at how good these 2 cards are. And we'll start with Neves from PSG. So he looks like a talent, this guy. Let's just get more trained up and boosted. Yikes. It's 97 low pass, 95 lofty pass. This guy has good passing. He's also pretty tidy on the ball. Not great attacking awareness. He's a box-to-box. I would like more attacking awareness on him. Defensively, he's not too bad. Yeah, the defensive awareness isn't brilliant, but everything else in the 80s. Pace is decent. The kicking power on him, not the strongest physically. You kind of expect that. He's not a big, strong guy by any means. Decent balance. Stamina's around about where I want it to be, around the 90 mark. Skill-wise, let's have a look on back in the game actually at the skills, because I don't trust the eFootball Hub right now. So, does have a face scan before I forget, but skill, oh, he's got unwavering form. Again though, I think this guy's getting a lot of A and B form. We'll see that when we go back to eFootball Hub in a moment, but skill-wise, this is what we're looking at. So, double touch, soul control, one touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low lofted pass. All the passing stuff, soul control and double touch as well, thrown in as bonuses, and he does have interception as well. So on a box-to-box, certainly a very offensive-minded, creative-minded box-to-box, but he does have interception. He's got pretty much everything you need, fighting spirit as well. Yeah, looking good with the skills. So let's just jump straight back over to the hub again. So as a box-to-box, all the skills we need as quite an attack-minded box-to-box centre mid. Yeah, he's looking pretty nice. Just the attacking awareness is the biggest concern for me. I think if you want a box-to-box to be part of a kind of double pivot, certainly if you want to use him as a DMF. Well, let's just quickly look at what the auto allocation says. But without a bit more physical strength. I'm not sure if he's going to be that great as a defensive midfielder. Yes, the defensive attributes are looking pretty decent, but physical contact is pretty important. You're going to need to put some skills on him as well if you use him as a DMF. Yes, he's got interception, but I would recommend man marking blocker as well. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh here, to be fair, because he's still technically very good, and these defensive attributes are looking pretty strong for a DMF. He's just not the biggest and lacks physical strength, so in a double pivot, could do a job. He will still have the box-to-box playing style active. But yeah, if you don't mind the lack of physical strength, and certainly if you're willing to consider one or two defensive skills to add to him, the rest of the attributes on a defensive midfielder are looking pretty tidy. Very tidy indeed. But I think certainly as a centre midfielder, giving him a bit less defensive responsibility, that could be the best way to use this guy as a centre mid. Obviously fantastic getting him on the ball and picking a pass. They have gone up to 12 on passing. You could certainly take some away from that. I'm sure even with the update, 93 low pass will be more than enough. I'm going to give him more dexterity. This is more of an all-round build and more focused on getting forward now, getting into attacking positions and picking a pass. 1 point left, or 4 points left, sorry. 1 point of shooting. Just nudge that finishing up to 70. To be honest, you might want to put that on aerial. It just depends on what you prefer, really. In fact, I'm going to do that. You could actually nick one off defending, to be honest. You still be 80 for tackling, yeah. You can get up to the 70 mark physical contact. That's not going to magically make a massive difference, but I would personally do that. I do think he needs a bit more physical strength the way the game is these days. Balance at 90 though is lovely. Got a bit more attacking awareness on him. Still technically fantastic. He's not going to be great at shooting, but obviously that's not what he's really about, this guy. He's about getting on the ball and picking a pass and creating chances. Still got some defensive ability. He's got interception, remember. Yeah, as a centre midfielder, this guy looks really neat. He's going to feel nice on the ball. I've used a version of this guy in co-op a couple of times. I've not got a version myself, I don't think. I did spin his player of the week card on one of my accounts. Not really used it much on there, but I've used a version of him in co-op a couple of times. He felt pretty nice. He's going to be pretty nimble. And like I say, whether you use him as a DMF or like I recommend, is more of a centre mid and focus more on what he's good at, getting forward and getting on the ball. Looks like a pretty nice version of Neves. We've had a few versions of him up to this point. There was an old nominating contract card. It's a little bit dated now. We've had a few player of the week versions of him. The oldest of the three is not so great, but the more recent two player of the week cards of Neves, the stats are shuffled around. That's really the key. It's not about the overall rating. The main difference really is that those two player of the week cards, the better ones, they have a bit more physical contact, but they don't have quite as much technically. So it just depends where your priorities are. You might prefer one of those player of the week cards, but you might prefer this one. Depends on where your priorities are. You can obviously train this one, not just in terms of the attributes, but skills and positions as well. We'll look at that in a second. But yeah, those player of the week cards just come down to where your priorities lie, because like I said, the stats are shuffled around a bit. In terms of trainable versions previously, we've had a couple quite recently in kind of Legend or Showtime packs. Roughly the same overall, really. Not a massive difference overall, really. So if you got one of those, you might not really need this one, to be honest. And just to compare it to his GP card, the boost, the biggest boost I've given him at level 1 compared to his GP card is on lofted pass, finishing, even though it's still not particularly high, and kicking power again. I wonder if that's linked to passing. So yeah, it's a nice version of Neves this. You might have a version that you prefer to this one, but on the whole, looks pretty neat as an all-rounder in the middle of the park. Very neat card. You've got other positions you can train him for. So let's just see. It's saying he's 101 as a wide midfielder. Interesting. Let's see what auto allocation says if we were to say, let's make him a left midfielder, say. So speed and acceleration at 88 or 90 plus and all these down the left. Yeah, he could be a decent wide midfielder, actually. I'm not sure that's what you'd want to do. If you did make him a wide midfielder, left mid or right mid, the box-to-box playing style would still be active. Keep that in mind. It's quite an interesting playing style in a wide midfielder. I've used it before. I've got Oxlade-Chamberlain and who's the other one guy I've got? De La Cruz. I quite like it. They get up and down a lot. I don't think it's a bad playing style on a wide man. I think certainly if you play with wing backs, it could be an interesting playing style on a left mid or right mid. But yeah, if you use this guy as a left mid or right mid, he will be a box-to-box. And I think it could be handy. I think he could be handy in that position. Could we actually beef up some of his attributes here? Take that point off defending. You can nick one off dribbling. I'd like a bit more attacking awareness on him. You can get that up by 1. That's about all you can do. Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, it could be very decent. Oh, actually, you could take some points off passing. What am I doing? So I could free up 7 points that way. Yeah, I think that's worth doing. Get the acceleration over 90. Bounce up to 93. That attacking awareness up to 78. Would I recommend using this guy as a wide midfielder? Not necessarily, but If you gave him pinpoint crossing, does he have pinpoint crossing? Let's just quickly look back at the game. I forgot. Yeah, he's got pinpoint crossing. There you see. So you could use him on the right as well as the left. He's not got long range curler, but long range curler, if you wanted to use him on the left, you could make him a very viable left midfielder. Could be very neat on the ball, nippy, responsive. Could be an option there. Right midfield with pinpoint crossing. He's got a lofty pass at 88. Could be a decent option right midfield. So you've got an option if you want to make him a wide midfield. I'm not sure many people look at this guy and consider that he's going to be someone you want to use position trainers to turn into a winger. But if you did want to do that, he could certainly be a decent one there. I think it could be pretty effective. And then lastly, attacking midfield. Is he going to be one of these guys who's better going forward than he is defensively as a centre midfielder or a defensive midfielder? And therefore, is it worth taking the defensive points away and using him as an attacking mid? I mean, we've pretty much done that already with this wide midfield build. I'll just take that 1 point off aerial. The pace isn't quite so important. Dexterity I'll leave because attacking awareness is important as an attacking midfielder. He won't have an active playing style. Remember, box to box is not active attacking mid. So we're playing him as an attacking midfielder with no active playing style. If you don't like that, you won't want to do this, but a lot of people don't mind that. I don't mind that personally. Let's just put a bit more on passing, and then we'll just beef up his shooting a little bit. Yeah, as an attacking midfielder, again, he's going to feel pretty neat on the ball, this guy. He's going to be nippy, he's going to be nimble. Technically very nice. He's going to have a very nice pass on him. Could be a very nice option as attacking midfielder. So you've got a few ways you can use this guy. With the position trainers, could be a very nice attacking mid, could be a very nice left mid or right mid. As a defensive mid, I think he lacks physical strength personally, but outside of that, could be really, really neat in some kind of double pivot. But as a centre midfielder, box to box, he's got the interception skill. He can do a bit of defensive work. We'll just leave him on the auto allocation here. As you can see, he does have a bit of defensive ability, even if he's not the strongest physically. He does have interception and fighting spirit, so he could certainly do a job as a centre mid. You need at least one other midfielder in there doing a lot of the defensive work, but he could certainly do that job as a centre mid defensively. But going forward is very strongest. Technically, fantastic. Whether you're going with the auto allocation with the outstanding passing, or whether you take a few points away and still has good passing, we just beef him up elsewhere. Maybe with the physical strength, maybe dexterity to get his attacking awareness up. A few ways you can use it. A few different positions within your midfield where you could use this guy, but yeah, you might have another version of Neves that you think is as good, if not maybe even slightly better. But I think for a lot of people, this could be a very appealing midfielder to pick up. So for the value match pass, potentially pretty decent value for a lot of people. And our premium match pass player is Frenkie de Jong from Barca. He is an orchestrator, centre midfielder. He's also got defensive midfielder and centre back. Unwavering form. And then skill-wise, of course, you've got one-touch pass and through passing, weighted pass. Soul control is a nice one to have. Heel check likewise. Double touch, cut behind and turn. You've got pinpoint crossing, outside curler, gamesmanship. So again, you've got a whole lot of skills on the ball here. You get this guy on the ball, he's going to be nice on the ball. He's going to have really nice passing on him. Nothing there defensively, though. I think on an orchestrator, in just about every position, unless you position train him as an attacking mid, I think all the positions where he's already fully proficient, you could really do with certainly interception, maybe his man marking block as well. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub, though. We'll have a look at how good this de Jong card actually is. And all fully boosted and trained. Not a dissimilar profile to João Neves, to be honest. Very tidy on the ball, outstanding passing, can do a bit of defensive work. He's not always that strong defensively. I recently picked up that Messi pack that was on sale for about £5. I got the de Jong card from that, and I think this one's a bit better than my one. There was one player of the week version of de Jong ages ago. That was that crazy one. I think it was his normal position was changed to centre back, but in midfield he was just crazy good. I think he was about 105 rated in the middle of the park. So this one doesn't quite measure up to that one. I think that's certainly the best version we've had of de Jong, albeit there was a legend version that was a whole player, and that can be trained, of course. You can put skills on him, that maybe gives that the edge over that player of the week one. So you've got two versions of de Jong that I think are the standout best versions, but they're very different to this one, because this is an orchestrator, and he's trainable. And he goes to a similar level to the better trainables, to be honest. We've had a bunch of versions of de Jong that are around about the same level as this one, but the stats are shuffled around a bit. This one, like I say, does look like he's a bit better defensively than most versions of de Jong are. Compared to his GP card, they've actually taken a few points away from his attacking awareness. That's really strange. I don't know why they've done that. It seems unnecessary. Lost a few points of ball control, heading, and stamina as well. Why? But they have given him a boost primarily on his acceleration, his kicking power, his physical contact, and his defensive attributes. Yep, as I suspected. So yeah, a nice boost in a bunch of areas there. But yeah, slightly strange I've taken a few points away in a few areas. But But on the whole, this is a pretty decent looking version of De Jong. But again, though, it's just a question of how you want to shuffle the points around. Is how you're going to use this guy. If we start from the most defensive position, let's just start with centre back. Just to see, can we rule this out? Is he a good centre back? Not really. Physical strength nowhere near high enough. Defensively, not terrible, but not brilliant either. You could have him. You might like him as a very cultured centre back if you don't mind the lack of physical strength. You like the fact he's going to be great on the ball for a centre back, but you need to put a bunch of skills on him. He is going to come out short with the physical strength, so I don't think this is going to be a centre back card for many people. But as a defensive mid, auto allocation is telling us he's decent defensively. Obviously, still got great passing and tidy enough on the ball, but that physical strength 72. Similar to when we were looking at João Neves just now. Is he going to be physically strong enough? Certainly not as a lone defensive midfielder. In some kind of double pivot or a diamond, something like that. If you've got one or two other midfielders there and doing a lot of the defensive work, yeah, maybe. But I don't know. It just comes down to physical strength. I think for most people, that'll be a bit on the lower side. If you don't mind that, though, certainly with that, the defense is up to that level. They put 14 on as defending there. It's quite a lot. I mean, I'll take a couple away from there personally and just shove those straight onto aerial. I think that's worth doing. You get past that threshold for auto shielding, albeit I don't know if that's still the case with the update. But yeah, on the whole, could be very decent as a DMF. But like I say, I would personally not use him as a lone DMF. I think you need him to be in some kind of double pivot. But ideally, I think this guy is going to be similar to João Neves. You're going to be best as a centre midfielder where you focus on what he's best at. Because even though they boost him defensively, what you want to do with Frenkie de Jong, you want to get him on the ball, you want to pass the ball because that's what he's great at. He's still decent defensively with auto allocation as a centre mid. They put 8 on his defending, as you can see there. I'd probably leave that as it is if you're playing with a centre midfielder. With the orchestrator playing style, he won't be getting forward too much. He won't make too many attacking ones. Orchestrators do still get forward from centre mid, keep in mind, but just not as aggressively as box to box, and certainly not a whole player. But yeah, in terms of the way the points are allocated, I think what's worth doing is taking a few points from pass. You can certainly afford that. And now I'll just beef up his dexterity because that attacking ones for me is really, really iffy. I'll do that. It still only goes to 72 there. But well, I'll take that one from shooting, actually. Just give him a couple on aerial. Up to the 70 mark on physical contact. But yeah, I think that's worth doing. He's still not great for attacking awareness, but you've at least improved it a bit. That balance is looking good at 89. A bit more acceleration on him. As a centre midfielder, as a kind of deep line forward. Yeah, sorry, a deep line playmaker, I should say. Very tidy. Like I say, stacks up pretty well against other trainable versions of De Jong. Yes, we've got a legend one and that crazy player of the week one. If you got either of those, and I'm not sure you'd be too desperate to get this one. But outside of those two, this is a good version of De Jong. I think it looks pretty neat, whether it's in some kind of double pivot or as a centre midfielder. Looks like a very neat card. And in terms of other positions, again, we could position train him as an attacking midfielder. If we do that, I'm not saying I necessarily recommend doing that, but what would you do? I would do that with dexterity. 5 points left. You can get that +2 at the 86 mark on speed and kicking power. Easy. 2 points left. Shooting. Yeah, as an attacking mid, again, the finishing is like we're brilliant. You're going to focus on passing with this guy, obviously. Use him as a kind of a playmaker. Again, won't have an active playing style as an attacking midfielder, but pretty nice pace, decent kicking power, the balance is good, stamina's good, on the ball tidy, passing still fantastic. Not got great attacking awareness, finishing's clearly not great, but certainly qualities there. You could certainly use him as an attacking midfielder if you don't mind the lack of playing style. And then wide midfield, it's saying 102 for wide midfield. Interesting. So wide midfield passing is not so important. Give him a bit of shooting ability. Tell you what, he could be a pretty decent wide man, so has he got pinpoint crossing? Let's go back. He has, hasn't he? Pinpoint crossing. So, yeah, if you're willing to spare the position trainers, as always, it might take you 2 position trainers to make him a right midfielder, or it might take you 200. Who knows? That's the way position trainers work. But they've improved skill trainers today, so maybe they'll improve position trainers one day. But yeah, if you did use the position trainers to make him a right midfielder, speed and acceleration at 90, kicking power at 90, balance and stamina 92. 90 odd for all his on the ball attributes, still 90 low pass, 88 lofted. He's got pinpoint crossing. As a right midfielder, he could actually be very, very decent. He could be a really interesting option there. I'm not sure it's necessarily worth spending 800 odd coins to pick up the premium match pass just to get this guy and turn him into a right winger, but he could certainly be a decent option for you if you wanted to do that. Left midfield, again, if like I said with Neves, you'd need to give him a long range curler. I think is important coming off that left wing onto his right foot, but he's certainly got the passing ability, and again, the pace, the ability on the ball. could be an option for you. Is it worth using the position trains to do that? I don't know. He won't have an active playing style left or right midfield. He's an orchestrator that's not a position playing style that's compatible left mid or right mid. So he'll be playing without an active playing style. But like I say, if you wanted to do it, right mid or left mid can be a very interesting option. But I'm not necessarily recommending that. Just letting you know you can do that. But whatever way you do want to use this guy, is a good version of De Jong. Maybe he's not the best, but certainly a good one. They have given him a bit of a boost to his defensives. That might make him more viable for you to play him deeper on the pitch as a DMF maybe. But there's a few ways you could use this card, obviously, and it's a good version of De Jong. And what he is best at, he is very good at, which is getting on the ball and picking a pass. So a few ways you could use him. Is it worth spending all the coins on the premium match pass? That's entirely up to you, but I think for a fair few people, it could be a very interesting option for sure. So there's all your new nominating contract and match pass players. I think on the whole it's a reasonable selection. I don't think it's particularly exciting. There's certainly some decent 5-stars in there. I think the one grievance I've got is that they've taken away the AFC Champions League pack from the nominating contracts and they've not replaced it. So there's even less options than we normally have, which just annoys me really. Granted, that mainly is because of the fact that we don't get 3 stars anymore, so it's not like we've lost that many options from 4 stars and 5 stars compared to what we normally do. But even before, I felt like we could have done with more options for each level of nominating contract, because too often for me these days there aren't enough players that I want. I end up picking a few up just to release them. So yeah, I would like more options, but certainly from the options that we've got, there are a few decent ones in there. The match pass players, I don't think it's massively exciting, but certainly I think they're pretty decent cards for a lot of people. So yeah, I think some decent options overall, but I'd be very interested to hear you guys' thoughts. As I mentioned at the start, I'm going to do hopefully going to do a live stream tomorrow afternoon. I'll check out what's new in the game, maybe play a few matches, do some kind of skill training and just see what's new. Maybe pick up 1-2 players. And then maybe another live stream at some point. There'll be 1 or 2 player face videos. I'll do a review of the AFC Champions League selection contract pack as well. So yeah, a bunch of videos coming up. Hopefully you found this one useful. Thank you very much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all these packs and the match pass players. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you either for a live stream or for one of the upcoming videos. So take care of yourselves. Hope you're enjoying the update. I'll see you soon.